Oklahoma's policing crisis, a cascade of misconduct, a systemic failure of oversight and accountability demands immediate strategic intervention. The Oklahoma cop blaster represents a disturbing pattern of escalating police misconduct within the state, revealing significant vulnerabilities in law enforcement practices, prosecutorial oversight, and judicial processes.
This situation underscores a critical need for comprehensive reform, prioritizing transparency, rigorous investigation, and ultimately, a fundamental reassessment of the relationship between law enforcement and the communities they serve. The prevalence of incidents involving lethal force, coupled with documented instances of theft and DUI-related crashes, indicates a profound lack of institutional control and a concerning disregard for due process.
Addressing this crisis requires a multifaceted approach focusing not only on reactive disciplinary measures but also on proactive strategies to prevent future abuses of power. The documented cases highlight a critical failure in the system's ability to protect citizens and maintain public trust.
Erosion of trust, the root of the problem. The escalating misconduct reveals a systemic breakdown of accountability and public confidence within Oklahoma's law enforcement apparatus. The Oklahoma Cop Blasters Archive exposes a troubling trend, a consistent pattern of police misconduct across multiple jurisdictions within the state.
This situation is fundamentally rooted in a lack of robust oversight mechanisms, compounded by apparent deficiencies in investigative procedures and prosecutorial diligence. The repeated instances of officers engaging in criminal activity, including DUI crashes and cocaine theft, directly undermine public trust and necessitate a critical examination of training protocols, performance evaluations, and internal accountability structures.
Furthermore, the inclusion of cases involving fatalities often resulting from police action amplifies the urgency of this issue, demanding a thorough investigation into the department's use of force policies and procedures. The sheer volume of documented incidents strongly suggests a broader cultural problem within the state's law enforcement agencies, demanding systemic change rather than isolated disciplinary actions.
Strategic deep dive, police culture and accountability gaps. The confluence of high-profile incidents reveals critical weaknesses in Oklahoma's policing culture and the mechanisms designed to address misconduct. The core of the crisis lies in a demonstrable gap between the stated values of law enforcement agencies and the realities of their operational practices.
The documented cases, encompassing DUI-related crashes, theft, and fatal encounters, paint a picture of a system lacking adequate safeguards against abuse of power. Specifically, the arrest of officers like Dean Forbes for stealing cocaine, coupled with the deaths of individuals like Jamison Whedon and Hank Miller at the hands of law enforcement, suggest a critical failure in internal controls and accountability.
The reliance on self-reporting within police departments combined with the potential for biased investigations creates significant vulnerabilities. Moreover, the inclusion of federal involvement as seen with the U.
Marshals Service's actions highlights the potential for jurisdictional overlaps and a lack of coordinated oversight. A detailed analysis of departmental policies, coupled with independent investigations, is crucial to identifying the specific systemic failures that have contributed to this escalating crisis.
The absence of consistent, transparent, and impartial processes further exacerbates the problem, fueling distrust and undermining the legitimacy of law enforcement.
Verdict and projection. Systemic reform imperative. Immediate and comprehensive reform is essential to mitigate escalating risks and restore public confidence in Oklahoma's policing system. The sustained accumulation of evidence presented by the Oklahoma Cop Blaster, encompassing a spectrum of misconduct ranging from criminal offenses to lethal force, necessitates a decisive strategic response.
Predictably, without fundamental changes, the state will continue to grapple with a diminished capacity to maintain public safety and a significantly eroded foundation of trust. Future risks include increased civil litigation, further damage to community relations, and the potential for a broader erosion of the rule of law.
Therefore, immediate strategic next steps must prioritize the implementation of independent oversight bodies with robust investigative powers, the overhaul of police training programs to emphasize de-escalation techniques and ethical conduct, and the establishment of clear, transparent, and accountable disciplinary procedures. Investing in community-based policing initiatives fostering meaningful dialogue between law enforcement and the communities they serve, and promoting judicial reform focused on accountability and due process are also critical components of a sustainable long-term solution.
Failure to enact these changes will undoubtedly perpetuate the current crisis and further jeopardize the safety and well-being of Oklahoma's citizens.